Hey there, everyone. I'm your Vegas Nation host, Cassie Soto, here after hearing from Raiders general manager Mike Mayock on Wednesday afternoon. It was the first time he's been made available to the media this offseason, and he had a lot to say, including this about Derek Carr.
I think Derek Carr had his best year yet under John Gruden. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, and we couldn't be happier with him. But if you're asking me about Derek, I think John and I would both stand shoulder to shoulder and pound the table for Derek Carr.
There you have it. Mike Mayock is standing behind his guy, Derek Carr. Let's go ahead and elaborate on this with our own Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Vinnie Bonsignore. Vinny, what do you think about Mike Mayock saying he'll pound the table for DC?
Yeah, and absolutely. And listen, Raider fans, Derek Carr isn't going anywhere. But the Raiders, and this should be for any team, they always are going to leave open the possibility that if a better option came about at any position, they would be willing and flexible enough to make the move to get better. The Raiders love Derek Carr. They're supportive of Derek Carr. They feel Derek Carr can deliver them to where they want to go. But that doesn't mean that they would never trade Derek Carr if a better option actually presented itself. And the actually part is the key to the whole thing.
Well, how about when Mayock was asked about Gabe Jackson? There's obviously some reports out there floating around that he will be released, but he said, I can neither confirm nor deny what is going on with Jackson. What do you think's going on there?
Yeah, barring a big surprise, Gabe Jackson is going to be released or traded if they could work out a trade, but more likely it sounds like it's going to be a release, which would save the Raiders $9.7 million under the salary cap. Gabe Jackson, like a slew of Raider players, Trent Brown, Marcus Mariota, to some extent, LaMarcus Joyner, even Derek Carr, are on the last years of their contract, and the guaranteed portions of their contract have already been paid out. What does that mean? That means that if the Raiders were to release Gabe Jackson, who is technically on the books for $9.7 million next year, it's only in paper only because the guarantees are out of that contract. So if they walked away from him or cut him or traded him, there would be no ramifications, and by that I mean salary cap hits. A lot of times when you trade somebody or have to release somebody that still has guaranteed money left in their contract, that means you're going to absorb a hit to your salary cap. But Marcus Mariota, Derek Carr, Gabe Jackson, Trent Brown, Richie Incognito do not fit that category. The Raiders can walk away from them scot-free if they choose to, in terms of trying to fix their salary cap or get that salary cap situated in a way that they can go chase players in free agency.
And you mentioned his name, Trent Brown. Vinny, obviously Mike Mayock was asked about this guy, and he said, quote, the jury is still out on tackle Trent Brown on whether he will be returning for the silver and black. When you hear that, what are you thinking there?
Well, what I'm thinking is what I would be thinking if I were the Raiders. We paid you $37 million the last 2 years and got 16 games out of you. I'm not a mathematician, but that's half the games that were played in 2019 and 2020. So of 32 games, Trent Brown played 16 of those games. That's not enough. And that creates uncertainty moving forward. And the Raiders, when they say the jury is still out, they got to decide, all right, is last year specifically when Trent Brown played only 4 games or started only 4 games, completed only 4 games, was that an anomaly? Was that a outlier? Was that just a bad luck year for Trent Brown? Or is it a prelude of things to come? If it, if it was a bad luck season and they are confident that it was, then they can more confidently bring him back at the $14 million that he's owed. If there's any concern that what happened in 2020 is a prelude of things to come, that creates a lot of uncertainty about whether they're going to get their big tackle out on the field more often than not during the course of the season. And if there is enough of that concern, then chances are Trent Brown has played his last game for the Raiders. Now, does that mean he gets cut? Possibly. Does it mean he gets traded? That's a possibility too. There's also, perhaps restructuring his contract in a way that lowers that $14 million down a little bit. But remember this about Trent Brown. He's aligned with Drew Rosenhaus, one of the more effective agents in the business. And he's very hesitant to ask his players to take any kind of a pay cut, especially if he feels like, hey, fine, let them release us because we could go get that money back out on the open market. I know places to go get that money. So the restructure, I think, would be kind of a last resort type of a thing for Trent Brown, that is. And so we'll see. We'll see what that jury decides here in the next week or so.
All right, well, we are here for this ride, this roller coaster ride, Vinny. Thank you so much, as always. Really appreciate it.
All right, you got it, Cassie. Have a good one.
Vinny will have more on Mike Mayock's presser over at vegasnation.com, so be sure to check that out. For Vinny, I'm Cassie Soto. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.